presentation, our next presenter, Fabian Schäfer from Digicom, and we have a really good solution for you. Please take a seat and watch this presentation. Tippy, anti-child abandonment solutions forecast, really important product. Welcome on stage, Mr. Schäfer.
Sehr verehrte Damen und Herren, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here, for your interest in the topic and in our company. Yeah, Tippy, I don't know how familiar you are with the problematic or the situation what I'm talking about today. We talk about the security and safety of children in cars. What you can see on the trade show here, in a very impressive way actually, is what has been done in the last years in developing child car seats who are safe, with a fantastic design, and have enormous functionality. In fact, the child seat industry is investing a lot of efforts since a lot of time in those technologies when the car is in motion. Because one of the most important things is the safety of the children, not only the entertainment. So, child accident protection, and easy handling, and the child comfort. The question is, but what happens when the car is not anymore in motion, when it is parked? And that's where we come into place. Because the car seat is still there and is protecting the child. But here another problem occurs. When there's outside summer or just sun, and you have temperatures between 10 degrees of Celsius up to 40 in some regions or even higher, with irradiation, the temperature within the vehicle is developing dramatically. You can see this. Just take a look at 20 degrees. After 20 degrees outside temperature, inside the car, after 30 minutes only, you are already at 36 degrees Celsius. If the car is not in motion, you have no air conditioning, you're not checking is the baby doing fine or not in the back child seat. This is a high temperature, which becomes a real issue and difficulty for the children. Imagine what is happening when you have 25, 26, or even 30 degrees. It is dramatically decreasing the danger. This is a serious research data done by an institute, and you see in orange color when the death risk is arriving from an abandoned child in the car. So I want to show you this graph for one reason. Not only what can really happen when the car is not driving and everybody thinks the child is safe, but what happens when the car is standing still. And this is not only valid for hot countries, this is also valid for Scandinavia, northern countries, or very southern countries who have very far away from the equator and have normal temperatures, also in spring or fall, because then you're on the 20-degree area. So this is a problem that we see also from our research data, when we talk to clients and companies. This is happening, there's a problem worldwide. So here's some statistics for world regions, what's happening over there. This is a terrible data. This is a data that shows the number of deaths that have been registered in 20 years for childs who have been abandoned in car seats. The United States is official data. It's very high, 70, 80 registered deaths due to this circumstance. Brazil 24, Europe 44, Israel 16, but those are only a few examples. Just some world regions. I could enlarge this or complete this also with other data. And that is very dramatic because you must imagine that only in the United States, from January this year until August, 38 children have been dying in child seats because they were parked and abandoned. We're talking about an average of, most of the children are less than 3 years, because so we are talking about little child seats. And a yearly average of 37 deaths per year, which is every 10 days one children dies. But you must imagine this is only the fatality. Now you have to imagine, well, okay, in the most of the cases, you remember the child, you run back, or you have been underestimating the time and what was been happening, and it was saved. Those cases are much, much higher. They're not registered, because nothing really happened, but they're exponentially higher. So the number of injured children, severely damaged children, because they were exposed to potentially heart attacks or asphyxia or others, it's much higher, but not registered. So this is a real problem. Let me tell you about Italy, because we're an Italian company, and I come to our product in a minute. In Italy, we have those cases also. This year, several cases, and there's a great awareness of it. But there are even countries within Europe, Spain and France, who have more child deaths. France is a little bit less what a country. So, what are the reasons? Why does this happen? Because the instinct says, why? I would never forget my child in a car. And I must admit, I am a father, I have children. I thought the same way, my wife was thinking the same, and this is the first reaction. But this is a mistake, because there are medical evidence, there is medical evidence that it is not if you're a good father or mother or a bad father or mother, it's the brain that tricks you. They explain you in a minute why. So why do people abandon traumas in the car? It's 55% because parents are convinced that it is already in the kindergarten. They have been traveling somewhere, going to work. They're not aware of it anymore. They really believe that they are in kindergarten. Second is that the child by himself has entered the car. It happens that children are moving, trying to get into it. This is difficult, but it can happen. Of course, then they don't necessarily get into the child car seat, but there are different occasions why a child can be in car and has not the opportunity to get out anymore because it's locked. Well, and then the parents intentionally leave the children in the car because they think, well, okay, that's no problem. I just make shopping in the grocery store, and that's fine. Won't happen anything. Also, this happens. The thing is, getting back to the topic, why does it happen? Must you have a bad character, or is it something that can happen to everybody? And it can happen to everybody because there's medical evidence. There have been undertaken researches in the medical field from brain searchers. We talk about dissociative amnesia, strange word, but it just describes that your brain elaborates time and your topics and tasks in various areas. I say it in simple words because I'm not a medical doctor either. So if you are doing habits every day, you're going to work from 8 to 8:30, 20, 30 minutes in your car. It's a normal habit. You do it almost automatically. And I think everybody more or less knows this. You're not consciously going right, left, and so on. You do a lot of things unconsciously. You're used to this. But then, on this particular day, it was your task to bring your baby to the kindergarten or somewhere else. Or today you have to do something and the child is there, but normally it's not there. So on this occasion, and that's when it happens, on this occasion, you, for some minutes, think about your baby, but after 10 minutes roughly, you forget it. Because your long-term memory takes over, and this is medically proven, takes over and you return to your habits. And if you do not talk or have eye contact and you continuously remember your children behind, it's not that it does happen, but it can happen that you completely forget about it. You continue sleeping, and then you arrive, maybe you had an incoming phone call from a colleague, from anything else, and you finish your usual habit. And then the damage is done because you leave the car and in an enormous, terrible, dramatic circumstance, you have been forgotten. the child. I explain you this because it's really hard to believe that it can happen to everybody. I think about myself. Similar situations happened to me when I needed to do something, going to work, or to something very usual and regular. Maybe just the laundry bag, bringing to a laundry. And in the evening, or doing some shopping, in the evening, I just recognize, oh my goodness, there's the bag. I completely forgot this morning. Because on my way to work, it changed. And here comes the point. It is, and that's what medical doctors say, from brain statistics and researchers and evidence from the medical side, says that there is no hierarchy. Well, child is more important, so this you won't forget, because the laundry bag has no value. It is the side of the brain, or the part of the brain that gets dominance momentum. They do not discriminate what is more important or less. Just to tell you, because through interviews, because one tries to find out what is the reason, why do people think about it, this is what happens to those parents. Dramatic cases. In English literature, or also on the web, there are a lot of researchers also who prove this, interviews who also explain this, and where it becomes quite clear what can be behind this. So it really can happen to everybody. Okay, what does this mean? You need prevention strategies. You must save a child of not being abandoned. We have seen that it happens often. And how does it work? Well, it's happening, this is a problem that happens for a long time already. It starts on the demand side. The demand is usually the industry who says, okay, now I need those devices to prevent this. But, therefore, I need to have also a product that is able to do so. And in fact, as I said in the beginning slide, we have perfect child seats, wonderful, great child seats with a lot of technologies, but not preventing for those technologies. Just now, very recently, those technologies occur. So the demand rises now from the industry because now, only now, we see the solutions. So it is now in the supply side, because we are in an exhibition here, so I suspect also that you would like to know, well, okay, but where's the business in this? And this then triggers also, well, okay, now the system, because there's always a big outcry in society, in the press, yeah, oh, there has been a children being dying, but okay, after several weeks it breaks down. Authorities react now. And at the end, this may become the strongest trigger that those systems will continue and more get into commerce and be available. Why? Because I was starting with Italy, that we know very well, because we're a company located in Italy, where we follow this problem all the time. In Italy, since 2015, governments analyze this problem. And since 2015, we are discussing in Italy in how far such preventive systems must become mandatory, so that you have to have such a system applied to your car or car seat. And if you are caught without it, then you are fined. So this year, in July, because it has been continuing and no law has been applied, this year in July, the Minister of Transport, Tonelli, decided that he will make this law. Because there's enormous public outcry again this year, there has been this topic again in the news in Italy, in the summer again, what months. So this is something that will most probably become law, the mandatory use of such a device, maybe, probably by next year, maybe already starting in January. But this will also be a trigger probably for other European countries, because you can imagine, if even Italy is implementing something like this with the European community, in the EU, also countries like Spain and France, who have a higher incidence of fatalities even, may become subject to such a law. So we expect that after, European law will also adopt this. When this becomes a law, then you must adopt systems to prevent. And if you must, you cannot do without, but then you're not a first mover anymore, then you are a follower. So today, now, we see and we see this also from the business point of view as a company, it is the moment where there's enormous request and then things are going into the market. And the same goes obviously for the United States, where you have an even higher problem with this, but also in Japan and Korea, I heard they have the same problems. Yeah? But those countries, we expect that they sooner or later will adopt it. Just imagine when Europe makes this decision, then also other countries will follow. So, today, solutions exist. Tippy, this is our solution. We claim that it's a very good solution. We think it's the best solution and explain you why. But we are happy to look also at the other solutions. We are a technology manufacturer, an IT and technology manufacturer. We manufacture for the industry very advanced technology for tracking, tracing, and connecting. So it's a safe product. But what is the nice thing of Tippy? It is extremely simple. I'll explain why. It is not intrusive. You place it on a child car seat. It does not disrupt the use of the seat or the functionality of it, because child car seat manufacturers, of course, also must guarantee that the functioning and safety, also emotion, is not hindered by such a device. In fact, it is not hindered. And it applies to modern communication technology at everybody's reach, because this nice pad is connected to an application. So you download on the smartphone an application which makes this function. So what is it? It is, you can also take a look at it. By the way, we are also placed in this hall here. It's booth E35. So you can also later or these days have a look at it. And we have also information material laying out if you want to have more information. It is a pad. You place it on the car seat. It fits to every model. We tried all the models, 2 bells, 5 bells, no matter. It is placeable on all models. And it has a sensor inside that reveals the weight of the baby from 2.5 kilos upwards. Guaranteed, cannot fail. Because this sensor communicates via Bluetooth with an application that you can download on your smartphones, whether it's an iOS or an Android smartphone, it doesn't matter. And yeah, you download this application, set how does it work? The children is sitting here on the seat, of course. I get out of the car because I've been forgetting the child. After a few meters, my smartphone, because I've downloaded the application, sends me an alarm alert. Very loud alert. Plus this screen warning that I have to deactivate so that it's aborted the alert. If I do not, after 30 seconds, SMS messages go out to preset phone numbers. Can be a husband or wife, family member, friend, or whoever, grandma, grandma. Because it's possible that I, for some reason, do not hear it. Then they receive not only the alert, well, has been forgotten, those the numbers that you can install, yeah, but also the GPS coordinates where the car is placed. Because then the informed person, whether it's a grandparent or family other person, can intervene and say, okay, there's the car, now I see what is happening there. I must resolve the situation. This pad is extremely easy to use and very simple, as I said before. Obviously, it's a kind of a battlefield, a child seat, because children are doing all kinds of stuff. Yes? I explain in a second. How do you know that it's outside? I explain in a second. Yes, good question. You can wash it. Yeah, it's waterproofed. You just pull out the sensor, you wash it in the washing machine, and then it's all certified and all. How do you know it? It has a very simple Bluetooth low energy sensor in it. So even if I do not have smartphone coverage in that area where I am, the distance, because I'm going away from the car, is interrupted, and then the alert goes. I do not need cellular communication coverage, of course, for the alarm messages. But then, sooner or later, in a while, as soon as I get into a coverage, if I do not have coverage, also the SMS goes out. But also to tell you, this product is absolutely harmless. There is no radio or any kind of harming technology included, because it's very important to have materials and also technology included in such a product which is doing no harm to a baby. Bluetooth low energy is not invasive at all. So this is the function of the application. You can very easily download it on the App Store. You install it. It has a battery in it, because it is not rechargeable. It would cost too much. And a lifetime is enormous. We guarantee more than 3 years of lifetime. But more than 3 years of lifetime from our test means 365 days a year, 5 hours used each day. Absolutely unrealistic. But even if somebody places the child for such a long, regular time each day of the year, for more than 3 years, it is possible. Yeah. So also from that point of view, it is a perfect product. Secondly, or thirdly actually, is compliant with all regulations, because as I said before, we are an IT manufacturer. We have our manufacturing facilities in Italy, state of the art. We're working with the automotive industry. Digicom is the company. BH10 is the group, the holding. We are working with insurers, automotive, all kinds of technology sectors in the world, and have, of course, always the updated and very demanding certification for this. So it is a safe product. Also from the material point of view, this is a material that does not cause allergies or any problems to a child. So it has been also developed from that point of view. So we have been saying that this is a product that can really help. This can save lives. And it is also somehow a product that is easily adaptable to the modern way of life. Because at the end, you do not have to see this as a threat, because obviously somebody who should buy it or should be interested, a potential client, doesn't want to buy a problem. See it not as a threat, but as a comfort. It's playful. You have an application. Yeah? You can involve family members. You can tell who's sitting on it, who's sitting not on it, and so on. It is some kind of a very easy and playful tool. Everything is connected to dates with an application. So for that reason, it really makes sense. Because we have studied all technologies that emerge. This is a patented technology from our side. There also exist technologies that you can attach on the child himself, or under a seat, or on a belt. But this is the only one that is adoptable without the need of external power supply or cable to a child seat. You place on every child seat, fits to every model, and is the absolutely most easiest way to use. We also work with the industry, and you will find also car seat makers, maybe also here on the show, who present such kinds of solutions already integrated. Well, I give you the little hint. That means that they are our clients, because this is our technology, because we also sell it already integrated. So I think this is a good technology that helps to give even more safety today to our children, and is a positive way of using modern technology. Technology is always an issue, especially with children. Never get them in contact too much with technology. Here it makes sense. Well, thank you so much. We are an Italian company, very proud of our know-how and what we are doing in Italy, set by a German. So I'd be happy to welcome you also to our booth. or if you would like to contact us, please feel free to ask your questions. Also, if you have something that you want to know now, please ask. Thank you. So before I forget, excuse me. Obviously, we have a very sleek and nice way also of selling this, because obviously it is not only the functioning, also the way of how you promote a product like this. Downloadable, all-way Bluetooth energy connection, simple instructions. Yeah. So it is already sold, available. It's not a project. We only sell it in large volumes in the market. So we just would like to expand. Thank you so much.
Mille grazie. Thank you so much, Mr. Schäfer. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we will have a short break, or a little bit longer break,